Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Diz, always a pleasure to see you and have a chat.
Mate, it's great to be here. I'm bringing the energy today. I am up and about for episode 95. Let's go.
All right, Diz, we have got a jam-packed episode. We've got heaps of news. We've got a big Mercher update. We've got a great guest, Dizzy, Duncan from Boomer Anchors. We met this great man at the boat show.
Yes, we did. A stellar product he has come up with, and it's a great yarn we have with Duncan later on today's episode. He talks to us all about the inception of the concept and where it's come to now, Rhodey. So we look forward to having a chat with him later today.
And that is you'll hear about it later, but it's a great story of tinkering in the shed.
It is. It's a fantastic story for all those people out there who do exactly that, Rhodey. They tinker away in the shed. They think about ideas. They think about the next big thing.
I'm just waiting for your old man to come up with the next big thing because he's one of the great shed tinkerers going around.
And I think, honestly, they think about the next big thing because they're thinking, if I crack the code to this, I'm going to have myself a new boat.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Diz?
Absolutely.
Getting out of work.
All right, let's not give too much away about that chat, Rhodey. Let's get stuck into oranges and lemons, mate. You can start us away with your orange.
Diz, I have just spent 8 or 9 days in Western Australia.
Oh, tough luck, mate.
It's a great place, WA.
Yeah, can't say I've been there.
Nah, beautiful. We went to Dunsborough for a cousin's wedding, which was great. Rottnest was beautiful. Stayed at the Discovery Parks, and then Freo to finish.
Mate, how good. Bit of a tour around.
Beautiful place. We did it all. The weather was great. Good spots. It's a really good spot, WA. It's I think it's underrated. I probably wouldn't have gone there if it wasn't for the wedding, but now I have. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, well, we were awfully close to going to WA a couple of years ago.
Yeah, let's not talk about that, Diz. Was that the first or the second time that we booked grand final tickets when Port made a prelim and then lost?
Yes, I think it was the first time, but no, actually it was the second time.
It was the second time,
yeah.
I think. Anyway, we jinxed them 2 years in a row.
Yes, we have, absolutely. Rhodey, I'll give you my orange, mate. It's been a long time since we've been out fishing, far longer than we're used to, far longer than we would like to. But I am going away next weekend and we are going to take the boat, and I almost feel like no matter what the weather does, because it'll probably jinx us, but we're going fishing. We're going to do some form of fishing.
Yep, so you're heading over to your parents' shack, is that right, Diz?
Yeah, we're heading over there. Millie's folks are staying over that way, so we're going to go over there for a weekend. We'll tow the boat over and, yeah, hopefully get out and have a fish. And, yeah, we're sort of looking like we might have been able to spend an extra couple of days over there, but we'll be definitely Saturday and Sunday. So good fun. Looking forward to that.
Now, I've got a free weekend, so if you don't mind putting the boat in and cleaning it up and all that, since you're over there for a bit of time, I'll just do a quick dash over.
Sounds pretty standard for you, mate. So I'll make sure that the coffees and the bacon and egg rolls are ready to go when you arrive or something like that, probably.
That's only happening if Daisy's around, mate. Don't you lie to me.
All right, I'll roll that straight into my lemon, mate, if you don't mind.
Yes, mate.
So, geez, it looked like there was a hot bite on the Kingies last weekend.
Oh, yeah, I sent you that picture and, oh, my God, I was jealous.
Oh, was I? I was in the same boat, mate. I was very jealous. Alex Hayes, he's just got some sort of hoodoo, that man.
It's not a hoot. Oh, it's a good hoodoo.
A hoodoo over the fish.
Yeah, no, he nailed him. And
like he
Point
knows
Lowly
where to
by
find
the
him.
looks.
Yeah, Point Lowly, I think.
We're not telling any secrets there, I don't think, Diz.
No, I don't think so, mate. Plenty of photos going there, but...
and Port Augusta was the other one.
Yeah,
there's lots of photos out of Port Augusta.
I don't know whether it's this year, but it feels like there's been an enormous amount of social media attention around it. Do you feel like that way, or have we just followed it a bit closer this year?
I don't know. I think in general, everything's getting shared more. Don't you think? Like social media is getting bigger and bigger.
Like that day, the photo from the ramp looked crazy.
Yeah, no, it certainly did, Diz. It's all happening.
Righto, your lemon, mate.
Diz, so this WA trip, we ummed and ahed. Will we bring the fishing rod? Will we not bring the fishing rod? Had a fair bit sort of on, like had the wedding and bits and pieces. And Really, we're only on Rottnest for a day or two, so I ended up not bringing the rod. Anyway, what do? We go snorkeling on Rottnest. At the back of the Discovery Parks, there's a beach called the Basin. Nice little spot. Put the snorkel on, went out there. What do you see? Oh, a couple of whiting. You swim a bit further. Oh, there's a dozen whiting.
Oh, no.
Bit further. Oh, there's 15 whiting. There were whiting everywhere.
Oh, jeez.
And I was sitting there being like, oh, can I go higher, Rod? What do I do? Turns out you could only fish there at night. It was banned during the day because it's quite popular for snorkeling and swimming.
Yeah, probably don't want dragging hooks through people's eyes and stuff like that.
That beach was about 80 metres from where we were sleeping, so I could have easily ducked over the sand dunes and caught a bag after dark.
Jeez.
So I was regretting not taking the rod at that point, Diz.
Yeah, fair enough too. That would have been a pretty flat feeling. All right, Rody, good little oranges and lemons segment there. I suppose you'll learn from that and take the rod next time.
Yeah, when in doubt, just bring the rod.
Yeah, good shout. Righto, Rody, so let's move on here, mate. We've got a bit of a merch update for the listeners out there, of course. Let's give a bit of a summary so far of the Savage Tackle comp that we're running. There's only a few days to go because, of course, that'll wrap up at the end of November. There's been some great photos come through. There's
been some ripping photos, Deers. Plenty of snapper, mulloway, salmon, sharks, plus plenty of more scenic shots, people fishing in the surf, scenic horizons, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And there's a ripping prize from Savage Tackle, Deers.
Oh, mate, Savage Tackle, time and time again, they deliver. It's an epic prize.
Heaps of surf sinkers.
Which are not cheap, mind you.
And I'll tell you what, that cardboard box is heavy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lead in there.
Yeah, we're not going to be sending that one via courier, are we?
No, we'll have
charged
to.
Through the nose.
No, we'll be delivering that one. It's got the Gemini genie rig.
Yes, yeah, we spent a fair bit of time talking about that in the last episode, and Simon sort of humbly told us that we basically had no idea what we were talking about.
So if you do want to get an accurate way of describing the genie rig, I think it was on Facebook. You go back on where we shared the genie rig photo.
Yes.
And Simon wrote a detailed analysis of where we went wrong in our description.
Yep, that's right. Simon's all over it, of course, as you'd expect, being the absolute specialist in all things terminal tackle, lead, Gemini, the whole range. He's across it. He can get some of the best quality gear out of him for sure.
So make sure you get your last minute entries in by the end of November. Simon from Savage Tackle will be judging. So yeah, make sure you get your best photo in.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. All right, Rody, what else we got in the merch segment, mate?
Now, Diz, how many people have asked us, when are you doing more merch? When are you doing a T-shirt? When are you doing something new, Diz?
Yeah, we do. We get that quite a bit, don't we?
And we've ummed and we've ahed. We've talked at jumpers. We've talked up Legionnaires hats, bucket hats. But what have we gone with, Diz?
We've gone with a T-shirt.
Oh, revolutionary.
Huge. Never to be seen in the merch industry.
No, Diz, that's let's not take the mickey out of ourselves. They are very nice T-shirts.
They are classy T-shirts.
And yes, we're looking forward to getting them out. There's a photo that we've put up on Instagram and Facebook in the last day or so, Diz.
Yeah, get on it.
It's a beautiful grey T-shirt.
Yeah, it's a nice, grey's a very good colour.
It's a forgiving colour.
It is. It's neutral. Goes with most pairs. But you don't see many people knocking around in a grey pair of shorts.
Yeah, it matches everything, doesn't it? That's why we went for it, really.
Yeah,
because you have a bit of trouble with your fashion sense, so we thought grey can work for anything.
Yeah, true. I think that was definitely a fave. I've got a lot of navy blue shorts.
Yeah, so it'll go with them. And a navy logo front. Left corner, did it left corner?
Yes.
Left seems right.
Somewhere there.
And a big one on the back.
So left seems right. Confusing. But no, it's a great piece of kit. So basically get on there, have a look, send us through your order.
ASAP.
You need to be
quick.
If
you want it in the first batch.
You need to be quick.
Because obviously all these things slow down a bit over Christmas, so we are putting a bit of a hustle on you all.
Yeah, we're not stuffing around here. We're not going to be talking about beanies for 6 months like we have been trying to flog off these beanies, which are great beanies, mind you, but these T-shirts will go quick.
They certainly will, Diz. And so make sure you get in contact with us ASAP. They're $40 for a T-shirt. $10 postage if we can't get you to pick it up or whatever else.
Yep. Good call. Love it. Rody, what else we got, mate? That's just about enough on the merch. Let's get stuck into the news.
Rody and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
All right, Rody, first cab off the ranks in the news segment. The Wreck Fish annual report has come out. That, I'm sure, would have been tabled at the AGM.
Yes, Diz, we couldn't make it to the AGM, but the annual report, it's well worth a read. I think it's 21 pages long or something.
Yep. It's a great article. What I would say is Wreck Fish being the peak body to advocate for all us anglers. Get on there, have a read, pluck out a few little highlights for yourself. They've been doing some great things. Follow them on the socials because, there's a lot going on there. Right,
there's plenty in there. It talks about some of the stocking of native fish. It talks about some of the work they've been doing with different sort of stakeholders and organisations, PERSA and the like. Talking about some of the Murray cod handling legislation that's changed recently, which was really good. The Yabby Net Exchange. It's really just a summary of everything they've been doing over the last 12 months. And we've covered a lot, well, probably all of it really. We've covered in the podcast week to week. But this is a great way of just getting an overview of the whole year.
Yep, it is. And look, a great example of how Wreck Fish have advocated for us anglers is in this next little story. Rody, I'll let you break the news about the West Beach boat ramp. It has been shared amongst a lot of people on the socials. So for those of you out there who have seen it, good on you. But for those who haven't, here's a little update on what's been happening in that palaver.
And Diz, that's gone back and forth a bit, hasn't it? And that was obviously with the original plan was that the West Beach boat ramp was going to be closed for a couple of periods over the busy January, February summer season, and that was going to be closed to all boat users for a sailing club competition.
Yeah, so 2 January to 8 January.
Yep.
The classic week that people have off work.
Yeah, and then what's the next classic long weekend?
And then the next one is 24 January to 11th of Feb, which is
the Australia Day
long weekend. So no doubt some of the busiest times our ramps across South Australia, and West Beach being, a local for many of us, and really, definitely the most central. So anyway, I won't interrupt anymore. You go.
So obviously we kicked up a fuss. Wreck Fish kicked up a fuss. Everyone kicked up a fuss. It was clearly ridiculous. And look, they haven't got it completely turned around, but they've found some form of middle ground. And there's going to be a maximum of 50 recreational boat users that are able to use the boat ramp under a restricted public access system. And that'll be done online via free access, but you need to go online to do the ticketing system to get your spot in the 50 Diz. I'm not sure when exactly that ticketing will open, but keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yep, so good stuff. So I think the message is clearly at those periods, so 2 January to 8 January, if you can feasibly access other ramps across the state, or you might even like to plan yourself a little trip away. There's some amazing places across the state where you can go and launch your boat, have a little couple of days away, something like that, across the York Peninsula, southeast, Kangaroo Island. The list goes on and on and on. But if you are in South Australia, in Adelaide, and you are wanting to launch at West Beach, you need to get yourself organised because limited places are available. And look, a big thanks, I think, must go out to Wreck Fish for at least securing somewhat of a solution to this issue. We understand that this is a pretty significant sailing event. I don't understand how they've managed to access all access for that whole period of time. So it's great to see that has been reversed to some degree. No doubt this will still cause some frustration, but a step in the right direction.
It is a step in the right direction, Diz, and I've actually got it up here now. So if you go on the West Beach Parks, I think it is, if you Google that, West Beach Parks boat ramp access, there's then a link that you can click on it. It takes you through to a try booking page. And I'm looking here now, and every date has available spots within, so there's 50 spots per day.
Yeah.
And at the moment, every day in those 2 periods has spots available.
Yeah, which is good. So get onto it. Get in there. If you know you're going to be fishing those areas around that time because you've got annual leave for work or whatever, then of course jump on. But otherwise, I think it's worthwhile giving that some thought, mate. Going on other places, checking a few other things out. Who knows? You never know who might be running down at Victor.
Couple of tuna, you reckon?
Maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Who knows, mate? You just never know. Righto, Brody, let's move on from that, mate. We've spent a bit of time on it.
We have, Diz. What do we got next?
So the Wreckfish cod breeding program in the reservoirs has been happening.
Yeah, Diz, this was an interesting one. So obviously these cod have been put in the reservoirs over the last few years. I don't know an exact number, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're into that breeding size now, Diz. So what does that mean? They need somewhere to breed, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So Wreckfish have been successful in an application for an SA Water Community Partnership Program, and that involves some funding to support both Happy Valley and Maiponga reservoirs for purpose-made breeding habitat modules.
Ooh.
And part of it involves underwater cameras, Diz. So that's going to be some rare footage of breeding behaviours in Murray cod. So the way it works is it allows fish to naturally lay their eggs.
Bit of cod porn, if you will.
It is a bit, Diz, and then the males guard the larvae until they're free swimming.
Wow.
So it's a citizen-based science opportunity, Diz. So if you would like to be involved, you need to sign up as a Wreckfish SA citizen science member, and then they will keep you up to date with all of that, Diz. That certainly sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And it's good to turn those fisheries into, at the moment they're only stocked fish.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see them as a self-sustainable
yeah.
fishing system.
It would, because there's been some huge captures coming. There's been some big fish caught out of those reservoirs.
Yeah, there are, Diz, and they
big
look
old
to be breeding size.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know enough about how well cod breed in captivity.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're setting it up to, have the best chance of success is really good to hear.
It is. It's another great initiative, which we love to see. Rhodey, let's move on to a bit of a story coming out of the southeast. I'm surprised Hannah's didn't tell us about this, but he's not as close to the fishing news as we'd like him to be. But there is a rescue in the southeast, Rhodey. This broke on Adelaide Now.
Yeah, Diz, it did. So this was down at Haystack Rock, I think it was, Diz.
Yeah, that seems to get a bit of attention. It's a bit of a treacherous piece of water.
Yeah, so it's down, was it past Port Mac, I read? I've never been there myself.
Yeah, I think so. But it was a rogue wave, they're describing it as.
Yeah, Diz, it was. It was a rogue wave. If I can get that word out.
That's what I just said. But
yeah, but I couldn't get the word out anyway. So it says here there were two men checking crapots in a reef when a wave swamped their boat, sending them both into the water. So what happened next is one managed to swim to shore despite losing his life jacket, while the other one, I think he climbed up onto the reef or the rock and had to wait for a few hours until a helicopter could come in and winch him to safety.
Yeah, wow.
So both men were saved. Unfortunately, this article certainly says there are unconfirmed reports of a Jack Russell dog that may be missing.
Oh, that is a shame. That is a shame, but we're glad that they're safe. These things are very unfortunate events, and you can't be too careful out there on the water.
And it's pretty treacherous water down there, Diz, and certainly when you are dropping crapots, you are putting yourself in amongst the sort of reef and the dangerous part of the water, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Those crays love getting in amongst the nooks and crannies of big boulders that you love sticking your big noggin into when you go diving.
So yes, Diz, reminder to be safe over the summer period when more and more people are using their boats, potentially that haven't used them in a little while.
Yes, that's right. Rhodey, let's move on. We've sort of dropped and changed here. We've got another ramp story, of course, the O'Sully's ramp, which is nearing completion.
It is, Diz, and they're having an opening event.
Unbelievably.
A project completion event, it's called.
Yeah, so that is Saturday the 2nd of December, unbelievably this weekend.
Yes, Diz, and that would be on time, would it?
It is. Joining us between 12:30 and 3:30 p.m, where you can check out the improved amenities and enhanced facility that will elevate your boating adventures, in their words. So I must say I'm pleased that this has happened given the news that we discussed earlier about West Beach, because O'Sully's and West Beach, although admittedly is a bit of a distance, it's not out of reach.
No, and Diz, we've had our doubts, and a number of listeners have contacted us saying, have you heard any more? Is that on track? We don't trust it's going to be done on time.
Yep.
And good to hear that it's actually opening on time, Diz. I would assume that as of this weekend, the boat ramp will then be open to the community. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it's a barbecue event. There's a ribbon cutting ceremony. You get to meet the team who have worked to complete them, blah, 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 ready to go in time of the holiday season. So
it says here to celebrate the completion and opening. Yeah, so you would have to assume it's open as of Saturday.
It's going to be open. I think there'll be a ceremonious boat launch of some description, bit of ribbon cutting, bit of sort of kissing babies, some of that sort of stuff for the
Do you
pollies.
think we should be the first one to put our boat in? Or?
Well, it'd only be fair.
We haven't got an invite yet, but maybe it's still lost.
I can't help but feel like maybe, someone like Harry would just probably dump a big old beast of a North Bank in there and get a bit of social media attention.
I reckon we should get the gig, but anyway, we'll see what happens. We've still got a couple of days for that to happen.
Yeah, love it. All right, very good, Rody. What else? We got some carp dying in the Torrens. Bad.
Yeah, this was all over the news the last couple of days.
Wasn't it?
So there's heaps of dead fish around the Torrens weir. And I think there was talk of algae. There's been different talk, but this article here on the ABC website has Uni of South Australia biologist Chris Daniels, and he has suggested that it is more likely to be related to to heavy rainfall higher up in the catchment area, and then more related to that, bringing organic material sort of downstream and accumulating around the weir as opposed to the algae.
Yeah, right. Okay, there you go. Well, interesting.
I'll believe what I hear, but I suppose who knows.
Well, we're not overly sad about carp dying anyway, are we?
No, and certainly all the pictures and the footage I've seen would tell me that it has been all carp. Like there's heaps of pictures of heaps and heaps of carp.
Well, it's in the Torrens. I mean, there's not a lot of natives in there, right? I know there's a few endangered species.
There's a freshwater catfish that we caught earlier in the year.
Yeah, and other marine life that we don't want unnecessarily killed. But in terms of the dead carp, we're not particularly worried about that. We want them collected. We want them turned into some sort of fertilizer or something for the garden.
Yeah, we do, Diz.
But anyway, let's moving right along.
Purser have said they're investigating.
Yeah, very good. Right, more to come on that, Rody. Let's talk about the increase in leopard seal sightings. I know the people listening out there have been eagerly awaiting this story.
Yeah, this was probably borderline fishing related.
It's probably more fishing related than snake spotting, but
yeah, it is. It is. At least these are on the beach. So it says here, Diz, this is a South Australian Museum document that's been released. Over a 5-year period, there were 14 leopard seals recorded. 2 of them were dead around in Cannon Bay.
Right.
And actually, Diz, I don't know whether you've read this whole article, but one of the ones that was dead had a ridiculous amount of toadfish in its mouth, in its stomach.
Wow.
Had I don't know, I'm looking at the picture, maybe 25. Half-digested, 24 semi-digested smooth toadfish in its stomach.
Like a school of toads.
Which could have contributed to its death.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
But then it also says here that there's some blunt trauma involved. So whether it's hit something hit it.
You reckon a couple of toadfish got a bit high on toads?
Maybe came into a boat ramp and got clocked? I don't know.
Wow.
Putting 2 and 2 together, I don't know, Diz. I'm not a scientist, but I could be.
Look, I've always thought about entering into the forensic leopard seal sighting industry.
Yeah, it is.
But haven't quite got there yet.
You could, because there's been 14 leopard seals recorded between the Murray Mouth and Fowler's Bay. So across a lot of the state, over half, I think it was, were recorded on the Eyre Peninsula, Diz.
Wow.
And that's a big increase. So there's been more sightings per year than there was on an annual basis for the previous 3 decades.
Wow.
So it's a big increase. There were only 1 or 2 were seen each year, with just 54 leopard seals being recorded up to 2009.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
So then in this 5-year period, there's been 14. So it's something that's on the increase. They don't really know why. There's a bit of a theory that maybe there's less food than there used to be, sort of down south towards Antarctica.
Interesting. Interesting, Rody. All right, that's enough on the leopard seal sightings. Let's move on. Something we don't like talking a lot about, of course, is when there's illegal fishing behaviour happening, but PIRSA have handed down some fines.
Diz, this was a Victorian gentleman was fined $11,458, Diz.
Bang!
And that was for selling quantities of southern calamari and southern garfish. Caught recreationally, he was selling this to members of the public without an authority to do so.
Yeah, naughty, naughty.
so he can't be in possession of any of those fish for 12 months, which that probably doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
Surely if you're selling those fish illegally, maybe you can never touch them.
Yeah.
Just sort of putting that out there. There was another fine of $4,500 to an unrelated man for hindering and using abusive and threatening language towards a fisheries officer.
Yeah. Just settle down if you
actually,
get caught.
he was in possession of 3 snapper and a wrasse, which were taken illegally. So he was in the wrong, and then he got a bit lippy.
Yeah, righto.
So that's pretty frowned upon.
Just don't know who would do that.
So good to see that the Kadina Magistrates Court and also the Elizabeth Magistrates Court are flicking out, I would say, reasonably appropriate fines. I think that first one could have been a bit more. Probably they both could have been a bit more, Diz.
Yeah. You like to see people get thrown the book at, really, when they're doing these sorts of things.
It's pretty clearly in the wrong. So anyway.
It is.
All good, Diz.
All right, a bit of a better news story here, Rhodey. Of course, Wreckfish SA at it again with a amazing event which is going to be held in the month of December. Saturday the 16th of December is the Wreckfish SA Fishing Clinic. It's a reeling in junior angler event which is delivered by Wreckfish SA. As I said, the 16th of December, there's going to be a couple of sessions. Jump on the Wreckfish SA Facebook page. You'll be able to find out a lot more information about that. There is going to be another $3,000 worth of pyramid yabby nets available to be exchanged. So if you missed out on the day down at Happy Valley or haven't been able to exchange some old Opera House nets, then get down there and exchange them over if nothing else.
And good to see this one's up north, Diz, at Mawson Lakes.
Yep, so that's
sort of
right.
Spreading it around the state, which is always good, Diz. And, you know, hopefully they might catch some fish out of Mawson Lakes. We went fishing there once and caught nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like your most classic location for bagging out on carps.
That was some sort of radio competition we went in.
Yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
was like a... It was like
Nova or something did a giveaway.
It wasn't like $1 million fish.
Maybe $10,000.
But it was a similar concept that there was a carp in there worth a lot of money. Get on down there, throw a line in, you catch the one, da-da-da-da-da.
I think we might have had a few beers the night before. I'm not sure we were really at our best.
I think we're a bit dusty. All right. Let's move on, Rhodey. The Warren Reservoir stocking has happened. So there's been some rangers and volunteers. There was 10,000 Murray cod fingerlings, which have been helped basically to repopulate the reservoir. And that happened roughly a week ago.
Yeah, look, I'm not exactly sure when it is, but that's sort of following on from, remember the native fish had to be relocated for a period?
Yes.
When they...
there was work on the valves.
Yeah, they had to empty the reservoir to work on the logistics, I suppose.
Yeah. So great to sort of, see that, do the full circle basically.
Yeah, and that's part of that. We have talked about this in the past, the plan that they have for all the different species of fish that are getting released across the state. Good to see that's well underway.
Yep, absolutely. Wow, geez, Rhodey, jam-packed news segment, that one.
That was big, Diz. That was big, and there was some good stuff in there.
There was some really good stuff in there. We love that. Rhodey, let's get on to the tackle item.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Rightio, Rhodey, let's get into the tackle item, and this week's episode is, of course, the 2024 Anglers Almanac. We've been sitting here with bated breath waiting for it to be released, and it's released.
Diz, this is an absolute classic item, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it's so good because you're going to get the tide times. You're going to get the predicted best fishing in
the
fresh
moon cycles.
You're going to get the moon cycles. Of course you are. And look, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speak on behalf of all almanacs here, but they're a great addition to a boat.
Oh, they are, Diz. And when we were kids, they were the holy grail of fishing, weren't they? That was before internet.
Honestly, the Pine Point General Store #1 sale item was my old man buying an almanac. He would have bought 20 almanacs a year.
Yeah, because two idiot kids would take them and lose them or throw them at each other or...
There was so many almanacs. There's always a nice little juicy section on how to tie a rig,
there
and
is.
there's a good section on how to cook your fish.
Did they used to have size limits on them? Or
Or
am I making that
question?
up? Not sure.
Well, possibly. I mean, it would certainly make sense.
I don't
if
think they do
did.
anymore, but
More often than not, we had that. There was like the Purser little brochure,
yeah, remember we used to quiz each other?
like a three pager that'd have everything.
When we drive over to Yorks, one of us would ask questions of the other one, and I used to blitz you every time.
What's the salmon trout size limit?
21.
Bang, 21.
Hang on. Anyway, Diz, let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Angler's Almanac. So
Yeah.
that is what you need. The other thing that's interesting, like I do get these days, you can get a lot of information on your phone.
Yep, of course you can.
Maybe your GPS, but what happens when you're out of reception, technology's down, Optus goes up the creek and stops working?
Yeah,
And
the
need a
other
hard
thing,
copy as well.
There's nothing more traditional about being on a boat with an almanac.
A few beers and they get harder and harder to read.
A few beers and an almanac. Yeah, we love it. So basically, you got to get down to your local sports fishing scene. Did a recent post on one which looked really good. They usually retail for $9, $8-9.
Yeah, you're telling me, mate.
$8.95.
All right, I'll believe
Actually, I
that.
reckon it was $8.95. The sports fishing scene one was. So it's basically free.
Oh, it's
It's
great
a bargain.
value.
You're making money on that. So you
And
want an almanac.
The other thing about the Almanac, when we used to be big on it, how many times would you just scribble a little note down the border?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, and you would. Sometimes you'd circle got fish on that tide or
High tide on the 21st of August, we
Yeah.
nailed the whiting.
yeah.
And then you'd get it out like 6 months later and look at it and you're like, what the hell did that mean?
Yeah,
we
you
circled
would.
it. Was it good or was it bad?
You would, because you're in the heat of the moment and you're like, oh, geez. Squiggle down a note. You probably wrote it in shorthand or something.
Do you remember when we
that you
also
don't
used-
even know?
We also used to have a notebook where we started like writing down
Yeah.
where we got fish, what
When.
spot, what
Ah.
tide, and then we'd do it like 3 times and we'd forget and then
Yeah.
we'd stop and then we'd bring it back out 2 years later.
Go, when did we get them? Yeah, no.
Anyway,
it's
we were very inconsistent with our notes back in the day.
We were, but it was always good fun. So anyway, long and short of this little segment for the tackle item is get down to your local tackle store, grab an almanac, whack it on your boat, throw it in your tackle bag, do whatever you want with it. There's some great tips and tricks in all of them, and they're worthwhile having.
All right,
Let's
Diz.
move on, mate. It's time for the guest.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Righto, Rody, we are very lucky to be joined by the man behind a very, very great product called Boomer Anchors. Duncan, it's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, happy to be here.
We met you, Duncan, at the boat show recently, which was great to meet you in person and see your product in real life. We have seen it online, but great to touch it and feel it and get a feel for it. We'll get into that side of it in a minute, but we're going to start it off all about you, Duncan, and we're going to find out about your best fish.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
So tell us about your best fish, Duncan.
Okay. Look, I think we come from North Queensland, so I think the first decent-sized barramundi that you catch up there is a lot of fun. However, we do a lot of fishing out around the islands. Around the Whitsundays is probably our main happy hunting ground, and out to the reef, the Great Barrier Reef. And I'd have to say that my best fish was actually a double header that I caught at Tideway Reef, where I was very lucky. We pulled up and it was actually the first 2 fish of the trip. 2 very, very nice red emperors because we fished with 2 hooks. And, at that particular spot, both of those reddies were around about 90 centimetres, which is, excellent. We have done that before, but most of the time when you get 2 big ones like that, they fight against each other and they usually break a line, break one off or knock the other one off or something. You end up with either one or nothing. But I was very lucky this particular time. 2 beautiful fish. I took a photo and, I was very excited about it.
Duncan, that's just bragging. We asked you about 1 fish and you've given us 2.
Yes, yeah, sorry, mate. No, but you guys catch really, really huge fish, like some of the fish that you guys catch down here. But around our area, up around the Whitsundays and the Barrier Reef area, reef fish are highly regarded, and obviously red emperor, pretty close to the top.
Yeah, it's a great part of the world. I was recently in Port Douglas and we caught a few of them too. So it's a great part of the world.
It is, mate. It is a lovely spot up there.
All right, tell us about your favourite thing about fishing, Duncan.
Well, my favourite thing about fishing is basically time on the water. It really is. It's in some ways, I think that we all work pretty hard to get some spare time, and so time on the water is great therapy for me. I've always loved fishing since I've been fishing with my dad a long, long time ago. But if you said about my favourite thing about fishing, it would have been that fishing with my father. And my dad's not around anymore, but I still remember those wonderful times that we were just together having a good time. It didn't matter whether you were catching fish or not. It was more to do with that time. Now that he's gone, my favourite time is fishing with my lovely wife Susie, and I've got a lot of good mates that I go fishing with. And I really, really enjoy fishing times with those. But the best times really have been when I've been with Susie. We're out, just having a good time on the water.
Yeah, it is. You're right about therapy, mate. It's just it's great to get out there with, like you say, either mates and family and all the rest of it. There's nothing beats it in my view. Although I'm a bit biased. Duncan, you've probably answer this for us, but your first fishing memories or what got you into it? Was it spending time on the water with your dad, like you said?
Yeah, that'd be right. They're my first fishing memories. I remember going out in a little 18-foot boat we called DJN, and it was a 18-foot boat. Back in those days was a big boat, and it was a pretty special boat, and it was shared between my father and his brother, and actually his sister, and they named the DJN after the three wives. And I still remember those days going out fishing with my father and my uncles. You just can't beat it. And I carry those memories, and I always will.
Yeah, beautiful, Duncan. I suppose it's how many of us got into it, that sort of family connection, isn't it? It's what makes us keep coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Duncan, what is your favourite sort of fishing? Is it chasing the barramundi around a bit of structure or heading off to the reef? What do you like to do? What's your favourite?
Yeah, look, I'd have to say I love fishing, obviously, as you probably know, but overnight fishing is what I love most of all. Now, I don't mean actually fishing overnight. I mean actually anchoring up around the Whitsunday Islands. We've got beautiful islands up there, and anyone that hasn't been up around the Whitsunday Islands really needs to come up there. I'm old school when it comes to fishing, so we're predominantly we use pilchards and squid. Pillies and squid is our go-to bait. I know I have used those jigs and all the different things, but I love the fact that where we are, we have fish that are fairly finicky at times. It's great to just be able to anchor up on a good spot, get the fish feeding, and honestly, we rarely miss out when we go up around where we go. Then the beauty of that is that you can just pull up anchor, you go into a secluded bay for a happy hour overnight, and you've got a beautiful fresh feed of fish for the night, and it's just pure paradise for us, and it's absolutely, that is something that I love most about fishing is, I suppose doing something a little bit different each time.
Well, this is good, Rody. We've got Duncan's number and we know where our next holiday is.
Absolutely, guys. Look, honestly, you come on up and we'll take you out, and honestly, you'll have a great time.
No doubt about it. Duncan, now's the time for one of your funniest fishing stories, or tell us about the one that got away.
Right. Well, look, you did prompt me on this about the funniest fishing story, and I'll have to be honest with you. I'm more of a straight man. I'm not very funny. I'm no Jim Owen, that's for sure. But I can tell a story that my father used to tell, which was quite funny, and that was the day that he took his mate Ralph out fishing. And Ralph, they were fishing with hand lines back in those days, so very much like a Paternoster style, hook on the bottom, hook on a little bit higher. Ralph caught what we call a grassy sweet lip, but I think very much like your, what would you call it? I'm trying to think of the fish. Anyway, it was what we call grassy sweet lip, more like a snapper style that you have on the bottom hook. So Ralph pulled the fish up. It was a good sized fish. He pulled him up, and when he got him to the boat, the top hook was flying around and it hooked through Ralph's nose. Oh. So suddenly Ralph was holding on to the fish, and he's got a hook through his nose, and he's, in a pretty difficult situation. And back in those days, the old fellas, they didn't swear very much, and Dad said, I've never heard Ralph swear so much in all my life about trying to hold this fish. And I remember Dad saying, "Woo, you bastard, woo, hold on, don't move, don't move. If you don't move, I promise I will let you go. I promise I'll let you go and I won't eat you." So that was a bit of a funny story that Dad used to tell, and he passed that on every Christmas. Every Christmas we'd hear that story.
If you're going to start swearing, that's a pretty good time to swear. We've certainly all found ourselves talking to the fish like they understand us. It's like when you're watching a squid or whatever, and you can see it in the water column going up to your jig, and you're like, "Come on, bite it."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Duncan, thanks for those answers to the 5 questions. They were really good. We're going to move on to what we're here to talk about mainly is the boomer anchors. Now, this is going to be a tough task, and we might have to get a picture or a video and share it on our social media. But I want you to describe your anchor and what makes it so good.
Okay, well, a boomer anchor, and it's a boomer all-terrain anchor. So it's not just a one-trick pony. This particular anchor will anchor up and hold in all surfaces. It's very, very aggressive. And, it's for reef, sand, gravel, mud. I've designed it in such a way that it was very aggressive. Obviously, if you have a really aggressive anchor, the problem with that is it tends to get stuck.
Yeah.
So what I did is reverse engineered the whole process. I lost a couple of anchors. They're very, very well-known anchors that people use, regularly now, using like the zip tie design for a release and the slide style anchor, with the plows.
Yeah.
I used those and I lost them. And one situation was quite dangerous because I had children on board, and we, both times cut the rope and ruined the fishing trip and lost a lot of money out of it. So I went back to my farm shed and thought there had to be a better way. There just had to be a better way to make a release that was simpler and based more on engineering than guesswork. And I came up with something as a very old concept that comes out of the farming background and engineering, where you have a shear pin that will release if it under pressure. So what I designed was basically an anchor that will hold your boat. It's got enough power and strength to hold the boat in fishing, so you don't get premature release. However, if it does get stuck, then you have the option of driving, using the power of your motor to just drive forward and actually break the shear pin that holds this whole anchor together, and it collapses. And it comes up every time. And it's a big statement that we make that you never lose your anchor. You'll never lose your boomer anchor. I think probably the best statement should be that it's virtually impossible to lose this anchor under normal circumstances, because it's just a straight pull as opposed to guesswork and wondering whether your anchor is going to release.
Yeah, excellent, Duncan. We've really sort of recently seen it at the South Australian Boat Show, and that's an excellent description which we look forward to putting up on our socials so that everybody can see it. But it's a wonderful design. It was excellent to see it in person, so to speak. And, you've done a wonderful job coming up with a really great concept there, mate.
Thank you very much, guys. No, I really appreciate it. We started in our little my farm shed, and this thing, I built it originally just for me. It was never to be commercialised. It was just, I wanted to do something that would improve my fishing opportunities and improve safety. But it's gone all over the country. Now it's in other countries. It's been amazing to come from our tiny little township where we live to spread out everywhere. And I have to say that the Adelaide Boat Show, the people there were marvellous. They really got behind the product, and we've sold out everywhere. We've had phone calls over the last 2 days, haven't we, Susie? It's been amazing. The response from South Australia, and so we're very excited about the future of boomer anchors.
I'm not surprised that you've had a lot of interest, mate, because, we try and vary our fishing as much as we possibly can, and sometimes it is in sheltered bays on sandy bottom, other times it's out wide, down maybe off the York Peninsula on some reefy bottom. And you're right, probably the anchors that are on the market now don't tend to suit the varying degrees of fishing that we might see in our state. So I'm not surprised that you've had a lot of interest. That's bad news that they're sold out, Rody.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm glad you're doing well, but you could have. We should have got it earlier.
I hope you've tucked one aside for us, Duncan.
I'm just on your website now, Duncan, looking at the picture you've got here of the first boomer anchor. And you're not wrong about humble beginnings. It looks a bit rusty. It does not look anywhere near as good as what you're up to now. Tell us about the journey from there to where you are now.
Okay. No, let's, it is humble beginnings. Where there's probably been 6 generations since that rusty old anchor that I made in my farm shed. And my dad, who was around at the time, I said, look, I want to try this because I don't like the options that we've got. So I made up the anchor out of bits and pieces from the shed, and I put it on the post on the shed, and sort of did some tests. Like I said, well, what if, this anchor got stuck on a rock or something, and we pull it, and then obviously the shear pin would break and collapse. And I'm a father, so, he said to me, look, I don't think it'll work, son. I think you're wasting your time. But let's take it out. Let's give it a bit of a go and see how it goes. And I said to him, look, we'll try it for three trips. If it doesn't work, we'll throw it in the corner of the shed and forget all about it. And he said, right, that's a deal. So we went out because it was his boat. And we went out, and after the 3 trips, I said to him, what do you reckon? Because it had worked. We'd actually caught fish in areas that we couldn't catch fish because the anchor that we were presently using was dragging through this gravelly country. I said, what do you reckon? And he said, no, it's a bloody beauty. Keep it on. We used that anchor for 10 years until it virtually wore out. And then it became... okay, I'll make one out of stainless steel. It looked a bit flasher. Some of my mates started to take notice of it, and they wanted me to make them for them. And I said, well, look, I think I might look at whether there's any of these, something like this out in the rest of the world. We then employed a patent attorney to check out everywhere, and there was nothing like a boomer anchor out there. So, I put my hand in my pocket, and we've patented that design. And then we've basically kept improving it in the sand and mud holding capabilities to a stage now where we're putting this anchor on 30-foot Kevlar cats, 5.5-ton boats, and very, very happy with it holding in for fishing and in sand and soft conditions. And it's amazed us too. It has really amazed me of the I suppose the variation of different size boats that are now using a boomer anchor.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you were showing us on the weekend how you recently at the boat show how you use a different size shear pin for different boats. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, the anchor itself, it's got a very wide range, and that has been from customers coming back and saying, "Yep, no problem. It works terrific," and this is in quite varying conditions. So yeah, from basically a 3.5 metre tinny up to a 9 metre large boat, the anchor works extremely well for fishing and all that type of thing. All you do is change the size of the shear pin to calibrate what you need for your personal boat and circumstances.
Yeah, beautiful. It's a very smart idea, Duncan. Now, I want to know a bit of your background. You talked about being a farmer and tinkering in your farm shed. Is that sort of what you did before this, or do you have some sort of engineering background, or how do you how do you come up with this creation?
Look, mate, to be quite honest, I'm a farmer. My background is mainly farming and fishing, but I have a trade. I'm a fitter and turner. I don't claim to be an engineer. I wasn't smart enough to be an engineer, but I just I love my fishing, and I had a problem, and the problem was bloody anchors getting stuck and having trouble with and ruining the fishing trips and stuff. So it was more a case for me. I'm not the smartest brick in the wall. I'm just a guy that likes to solve problems, and this anchor, like I say, was just a problem I wanted to solve for myself. But now I'm so excited because it's solving problems for many, many fishermen out there.
Well, you tell me you're not that smart, Duncan, but you're smarter than a lot of engineers I've come across. I'd say it's a genius idea, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
No, it's an excellent product. I am absolutely thrilled to hear, Duncan, that it's going well. We absolutely wish you all the successes with what is a really great product. So we really do want to hear from you before we let you go where you are stocking these. I know you mentioned they're out at the moment, but once you build up that bit of stock, where can we find them in South Australia? Are we best to jump onto your website? What's the way that our listeners out there can get in touch with you, Duncan?
Sure. As I said, we've sold out. We're at present, but we've got a new stock arriving, and that will be sort of late November. We've had a massive run running into like Christmas. So yes, we're online. You can look up Boomer All-Terrain Anchors. You will see there we've got all our preferred stockists. They're right throughout the country now. We are looking for more stockists. And in South Australia, we've been taken on by Victor Marine, and I'd like to, throw out a heads up to Victor Marine. They've been awesome. They've backed us up, and we always back up our distributors. So if anyone wants a boomer anchor, I would certainly get in touch with the likes of Glenn and Grant down at Victor Marine, and they'll look after you.
So down at Victor Harbour, is it? Yeah, it is, by the looks.
Down at Victor Harbour, Victor Marine. Those guys there, we're 100% behind them.
Beautiful. Now, last thing I wanted to ask you, Duncan, is where do you get them made now? Are they made in Australia or overseas, or...?
Yeah, we can't get them made in Australia, mate. I'll be honest with you. It's an Aussie design. It's my design. I have a very, very good friend who worked with me throughout the whole process of the design process. He's got 3 large engineering shops in Mackay.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the biggest issue is that we have an anchor that is using what we call investment casting. It's a moulded section of the anchor that it's high. The tolerances are very high. We've made sure that the quality is right there, And that's almost impossible to do in Australia, that investment cast moulding of 316 stainless steel.
Yeah.
So I've had to search around the world to try and find somebody that will help us out. And yet we've ended up with a very, very good manufacturer overseas. It's the way of the world, unfortunately. But, at the end of the day, it's an Aussie product. And I'm very, very proud of that fact.
No, beautiful, Duncan. Well, as long as it keeps you safe, it doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah, mate, no, that's right. And who knows, down the track that may change. But at this point in time, our job is to supply a really high quality product to people, so that they're happy. That they spend some money on it. It's a higher end product, and but what you end up with is something. It's like you get what you pay for these days. And honestly, anyone that buys a boomerang car will never, ever be disappointed in it.
Beautiful, Duncan. Well, thanks for your time. You've been really generous telling us all about your story, and we did love getting to touch and feel it at the boat show recently, and we can't wait to get one on our boat. So thanks for talking to us, and we wish you all the best with growing the business.
Thanks a lot, you guys. You're champions. I really appreciate your time.
Dizzy, that was a great product. Duncan seems like a really great bloke, and we're right behind that business, aren't we?
We are, mate. They're epic anchors. They look great. We love a bit of good old-fashioned Aussie intuition.
Ingenuity?
Ingenuity.
Is that the word?
I don't know whether I've used the wrong one or you have.
Not
but
sure.
in any case, I think the listeners out there understand what we're trying to say. It's a great little invention. We love it. Duncan's a very humble man, a great guy. He's just been enjoying the fruits of South Australia, as you'd say, the best we've got to offer in the Adelaide Hills.
Bit of wine country.
Wine
Barossa
country
too, I think he said.
Yeah, he's doing a bit of touring around, so he's loving it.
It was great to really touch and feel and hold those anchors at the boat show.
Yeah, it was, because they're an impressive design. So, good to see it in action.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to share plenty of photos about the anchor and how it all works, Diz.
Yeah, absolutely. Jump on, well, you'll see it in our link on the episode, but jump on Boomer Anchor's Facebook page and see what they're all about. Great products. Rody, let's get into the fishing report before we wrap this episode up, mate.
Rody and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Kingies at Port Augusta and Lowly.
Yeah, we could talk about that for the whole fishing segment if you
Should
want.
we move right along and just be jealous about everyone who got one?
There's heaps of them there. You said Alex Hayes, he nailed them. Simon Green from Savage Tackle, he went over too, didn't get one, said there were heaps of boats.
Yep.
He said there was some possibly questionable driving.
Yeah, not surprising.
I think that many boats trawling around, downriggers, flicking jigs. Make sure you're careful if you're out there, guys.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess, look, that's just the fishing pressure that it gets over the weekends, and other times, of course, but yeah.
I think Port Augusta's similar, right up against the wall. There's certainly been some photos of plenty of boats around there.
That's right.
Trying to hook a fish and get out of there ASAP. And, that's where you got to be really careful. So your mate hooks up in the heat of the moment. You're trying to get the boat away from the wall.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you know what's around you.
Absolutely, Rody. All right, let's move right along, mate. Tuna, I don't think we've seen too many confirmed sightings just yet.
Diz, I've been keeping my ear close to the ground and I'm yet to see one. That doesn't mean they haven't been caught. I imagine the first couple of people that catch them down at Victor might be keeping them close to their chest.
Yeah, I think they certainly would be, mate, and I reckon I would be too.
And I still don't think they'll be far away. Probably sometime in December. I reckon they'll definitely be here by Christmas. I would think there'll be reports by the next time we do a podcast.
Bit of hot weather fires them up.
Yeah, I think the weekend maybe. Sunday, Monday, I think there was warmer weather. Hopefully the water's warming up and they're not far away.
Very good. Rody, the crabs are going wild on the York Peninsula and some of those usual hot spots. So if you're into a feed of blueies, get amongst them. There is going to be a little juicy article coming out about crabbing.
SA Angler, finest in the state.
The best, mate. Love it. So that's all happening. Bit of a wrap-up of some of the fishing charters that have been doing quite well. Gav Solly from Western River Fishing Charters down in absolute God's country has been doing well on the
Is that the same charter as KI Fishing Adventures? Or
KI
does he
Fishing
run under
Adventures.
two different names?
Oh, he just goes by any name, mate.
You say Gav and they know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you basically say Gav. There's only one Gav in town.
There's only one Gav on the island, and
There's
that's
only
Gavin
one
Sully.
Gav on the island. There's only one Gav. Anyway, very good. They've been doing well. And, of course, Simon got out fishing the prize he won through Want to Fish.
Yes, Diz.
Simon Green, we're talking about there. Great friend of the show. And, of course, the wonderful man behind Savage Tackle. He won the comp that Tice was running through Want to Fish at the boat show.
Yep.
And Tice joined up with Southern Fishing Charters.
Yep.
And they went out and had an epic day on the water. Looked like some great fish were caught. Simon caught a very good size harlequin.
Yeah, Diz. It was a good one, wasn't it?
It was a very good size, and we've talked about this on the episode on the podcast in previous. They had good chewing.
And they also got plenty of snapper and nanagai on that day.
Yes, they did, mate. They did.
And Tyson has been getting plenty of gummies too on different charters as well.
Yeah, Tyson's been doing well. He'll be keeping his ear very close to the ground, I think, on where the tuna are, because that's his absolute bread and butter. But he's doing very well on bottom bouncing too.
He has, Diz. And one more on the harlequin fish. I don't know whether you saw Caleb Murray fishing in the dark.
Yes.
That was on a jetty
Oh, wow.
for a harlequin
Okay.
fish. Hopefully he's listening. I'm not exactly sure what jetty it was, but I did see on his Facebook or Instagram or somewhere I saw it. Harlequin fish, he said they're rare. I bloody agree they're rare. We've caught what? We've caught one in our lifetime.
Oh, yeah, not many.
And that was, I reckon, with Gav on KR Fishing Adventures.
It was, yeah. Classic reefy sort of species.
Yeah, but on a jetty, that's good going.
Jetty's good going. Very good going.
Wasn't a
Maybe
big
it was
fish,
lost.
but it was. It's still really cool.
Size limit?
Not sure, mate. Not even sure what the size is.
Of course, you got to pull up the app and you'll find it. So that's no problem at all, Rody. Righto, mate. That just about wraps up today's episode.
Yes, Diz. So make sure you get those last minute entries into the Savage Tackle competition for the surf fishing photos, Diz. And make sure you also get in contact with us if you want one of those premium quality grey t-shirts for $40. It's a great deal, Diz.
Oh, it's an epic deal, mate. It's a great quality T-shirt, which we're can't wait to see a few people knocking about in one of them. And just before we do wrap up today's episode, no minimum legal length.
Oh, interesting.
On Harleys, bag limit of 2, boat limit of 6. And on that note, we will wrap up today's episode. Good yarning to you all.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.